I love Demo Day. Demo Day is so fun. I think that what's so great about having a cohort of companies all get together and work through these issues and challenges all at the same time is that they end up supporting each other. I love being able to compare where they've been and to where they're going and to celebrate all of the hard work that they've put in.
We know that ocean innovation can curtail climate change. It can preserve our oceans. It can create new opportunities for us. And we are so excited to be using market solutions and thinking through every single day with our partners at SeaAhead, with our founders at BlueSwell, how we're going to make this ocean healthy for ourselves and for our future.
Boston has deep tech startup culture ecosystem. And so for us being able to tap into that, become a part of that, has really been helpful across partner companies, other startups that can be synergistic to what we're trying to do, new mentors, new funding opportunities, new commercial opportunities, and kind of diving deeper into Cambridge, Kendall Square, CIC has led to some incredible partnerships that have accelerated what we're trying to do by months or years.
The BlueSwell program, it provided us a structured, organized way to start to focus our ideas and to focus our market message. So it was in all facets a pure catalyst.
Everything from your product market fits to your business plan to thinking through your pricing strategy, how to pitch. So it's a pretty comprehensive program in terms of checking all the boxes that a startup needs to be successful. The vast resources of coaches that they have has just been remarkable. We just would not be where we are without BlueSwell.
There are many opportunities to interact with very interesting people, with investors, with engineers, with scientists that have different perspectives on different types of problems. All the opportunities to really go around, not only here in Boston, but we got the opportunity to go down to Rhode Island, universities, researchers, big companies, small companies. It's been really valuable to be able to get perspectives from people working on other parts of the problem.
The seed funding that BlueSwell has provided is going a long way in actually helping us to iterate and develop and advance our product. I'm incredibly grateful to the BlueSwell team for all their support. I have tremendously enjoyed the interactions and learned a lot.
This is going to be a really great opportunity to show what we've accomplished just in the past few months, where we're headed over the next few months to a year, and share that specifically with folks who can help us do that even faster. Truly, BlueSwell team, thank you.
Also, thank you to our supporters who are helping us along the way, whether they are mentors or they are offering financial support or they are offering in-kind support. We could not run this program without each of you. Thank you.
When people ask me why bluetech, the reason for me is that there's just so much momentum in this space. And frankly, the stakes are really high. We can't afford to lose. And so we're not going to. This is a space where there's a lot of opportunity and a large potential for returns. And we need to invest in it.
Hi, good evening, everyone. On behalf of my colleagues at the aquarium and our friends at SeaAhead, welcome to Demo Day for BlueSwell Cohort number 4. My name is Emily Lockhart. I am the Associate Vice President for Ocean Sustainability, Technology, and Innovation at the New England Aquarium. And before we get going, a couple of quick household items. Please, first, silence your cell phones. Thank you. I know we're still saying that. Second, restrooms, if you need them, are found at the top of the stairs. Third, we have exits also at the top of the stairs and either side here if you need to leave quickly. We have an exciting program tonight and pitches from each of our startups in our cohort. And before we launch, I just wanted to offer a few brief remarks. Oh, yep, there we go. We live on an ocean planet. All life depends on the ocean, and there's more life living in the ocean than anywhere else on Earth. The ocean is the final frontier, and it fascinates us. It is a source of wonder, and it is the lifeblood of our planet. And a healthy ocean is utterly vital to a sustainable future for us and for our planet. One cannot overstate the importance of the ocean for planetary health. It's not just the lungs of the planet, producing half of the oxygen on Earth, but it's also the largest carbon sink, a vital buffer against the impacts of climate change. The ocean is the largest livable space on the planet. It regulates climate. The top few meters of the ocean store as much heat as Earth's entire atmosphere. An estimated 50 to 80% of all life on Earth is in the ocean. Scientists estimate that there are between 700,000 and 1 million species in the ocean, excluding microorganisms, of which there are truly millions. And roughly 2/3 of these species, maybe even more, have yet to be discovered. The global ocean economy is also vast and expected to reach over $3 trillion by 2030. The ocean sustains and provides jobs for millions and billions, including the world's most vulnerable. Yet our activities are causing significant harm to the ocean. We must focus on working together towards solutions and sustainability so that the ocean can continue to serve humanity and not be overexploited. And this leaves an opportunity for supporting a more responsible future for our ocean and our planet. And what is our opportunity? Ocean innovation. In conjunction with scientific research, discovery, and exploration, ocean innovation can offer solutions to balance ocean health and responsible use. And that's why, with the help of our founders and partners, the New England Aquarium and SeaAhead formed BlueSwell program in 2020. It's the first bluetech hub of its kind in the Northeast, and our collaboration continuously pushes the envelope on innovation, technology, and science-based solutions. BlueSwell enables budding entrepreneurs to develop novel pro-ocean technologies that bypass tradition, convention, and the status quo. And we believe that there's a wealth of opportunity to invest and drive blue technology innovations that will foster economic growth and a healthier, more resilient ocean. It is now my pleasure to introduce Alyssa Peterson, co-founder and CEO of SeaAhead. Welcome, Alyssa.
Clicker. All right, we'll make it happen. Very good. Wow. Thank you, everyone. This is my 4th demo day now, and the energy and excitement in the space has only multiplied since that first one, which granted was during COVID and online. So, the energy was a little harder to feel. But I'm so pleased to be here and to be here with you. And whether this is your first or your 4th, I know that you are going to leave here tonight feeling invigorated and hopeful for the future. So we founded SeaAhead now I can't even believe it. It's almost 6 years ago now. And we founded it with a vision of the future. A vision of the future where the ocean is no longer a mystery, where we have the analytical tools and the ability to measure and process and act on critical ocean data. It was a vision of the future where clean water is available to everyone without plastic pollution and the thousands of bottles that it takes today to do that. And a vision of the future where marine carbon dioxide removal was making a really big impact in terms of our ability to manage climate change. And this is a vision that we share with the New England Aquarium, and it's the reason for the BlueSwell program. And it's a vision where the ocean can help us to solve environmental challenges and to create social and financial opportunity. In other words, it's a vision of the future where the ocean is not just a victim, it is also a part of the solution. And this is why the theme of Cohort 4 is an ocean of opportunity. Each startup you're going to see here tonight demonstrates that innovation and is inspired by and for our ocean. And it's exactly what we need right now, more than ever. And I love working with bluetech startups because they fundamentally change the way that conventional business is done, whether that's by having a new approach to coastal resilience, streamlining mountains of data, or tracking and capturing the true impact of carbon emissions. And it's just astounding to me to see the progress that these companies have made since they started in September, and all of the effort and the passion and the hard work that went into making that happen. And our efforts are really focused on doing two things, right? Bringing more entrepreneurs into this space. We need the best and the brightest coming out to apply themselves to the problems that we see before us today. But we also need investors in this space because we cannot expect the best and the brightest to apply themselves to doing the work that we see needs to be done if they cannot expect to be supported. And so that's why we can't do this without all of you here today. We need to work together for the bright blue future that we all envision, and to realize that shareholder returns and the health of our planet are not mutually exclusive, which we hope to reinforce and demonstrate with you here today. So let's dive in. And now I am excited and honored to introduce our first speaker of the evening, Mano Di Lorenzo. He is many things. And so I will keep it short because this could take a long time if we went through all of them. But Mano's a professor at Brown University and a recognized world expert on a large-scale Pacific Ocean dynamics and climate. He's an advocate for multi-sector collaboration to support ocean climate innovation. And he's also the founding chairman of Ocean Visions, which is a nonprofit committed to catalyzing high-impact ocean innovation. And we really couldn't think of a better message to get us kicked off here at Demo Day today. So if you will, welcome, Manu.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And in the interest of time, I'm going to get started. But today, I'd like to really talk about the importance of developing a global integrated ecosystem for ocean-based solution for climate. And in particular, I'm going to share some of my journey in trying to contribute to the creation of this ecosystem through the Ocean Visions. But before going forward, I do want to just a round of applause and congratulations to the graduating cohorts. It's amazing to see, and it's really inspiring to read all the things that they're doing. But one thing that caught my eye, of course, is that 2 of these cohorts are generally working in the area of marine carbon dioxide removal. And this, of course, is not a coincidence because, as many of you may know from the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, any pathway to limit the warming of the planet, 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees, at this point requires some level of carbon dioxide removal. We're essentially too late to just do reduction of emissions. And so with that said, the ocean is an appealing ground because if you look at the ocean has about 40,000 gigatons of CO2 in its interior. And we emit about 40 gigatons of carbon every year in the atmosphere. And so it's appealing to think that maybe a small imbalance in this budget could give us the opportunity to store a lot of that carbon in the ocean and maybe address the climate crisis. And of course, as you may know, there are an incredible amount of pathways that are being explored for what we refer to as ocean CDR. And my interest today is not to tell you all about these pathways, but really to point out an important fact. That is, the ocean ecosystem is very complex. It's very different from land-based CDR. The ocean is big and mostly is unexplored. And there are many challenges. For example, not just the technical challenges in CDR, for example, like scaling and testing the efficacy of these approaches and also monitoring how these approaches are actually doing. But there are also challenges that come from the fact that any CDR in the ocean could have unintended consequences. These were pointed out in a report from the National Academy of Science that really outlined a research framework for trying to engage the research world in understanding better what those consequences could be, and in return, help develop these marine CDR technologies. Things that could happen are listed in this slide here, like disruption of marine ecosystems, other risks of ecological imbalances, as well as long-term and potentially irreversible effects. So with that said, though, we are here today because in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been an exponential growth in the industry investment and startups that are working in trying to develop carbon dioxide removal, including the ocean. And on the other hand, we have the researchers in academia that are like myself, that are working in the ocean, and we're sort of catching up. How are we going to contribute to helping, analyze these technologies, help them developing these technologies, is also shedding light on this complex environment of the ocean and help essentially this ecosystem of innovators. And as you know, or may not know, there's been historically a bit of a disconnect between these two sectors. And this is when I got interested in saying, can we do something about it from the academic standpoint? And this is when we conceived and established the Ocean Visions in 2019. Initially, Ocean Visions was a consortium of research universities, at first only in the United States. The founders were Georgia Tech, Stanford, Scripps, Hui, and a few others. And we came together to make sort of a strong statement that researchers were ready to create a community of researchers in the ocean solving business, and that we wanted to essentially contribute to this sort of things like marine CDR and other type of ocean-based solutions. After the consortium began its work, we were able to expand the network to include other partners and include accelerators and venture funds, and trying to create really an ecosystem. And our big vision here is really to connect all the stages of sort of deployment of solutions, from research, development, and then the deployment. And so our idea is very simple and not something you haven't seen before. We really try to convene multi-sector communities of researchers. We bring them together and we have them develop sort of big picture idea of what are the roadmaps of these solutions? How can we actually implement solutions from where we are today to where we want to be? And these roadmaps can be very important because they can inform the innovation ecosystem, sort of provide them a blueprint of the big picture idea where innovation is needed. But at the same time, the research network could provide also expertise on demand to a lot of these innovation ecosystem, and at the same time learn how to be innovators themselves. And ultimately, this sort of brainstorming or this road mapping is also important because it can catalyze and mobilize new funding that, historically, the ocean has been a risky place. So having a better idea of how things may pan out is actually important also for the investment world and to scale these solutions. And so let me give you an example. So at Ocean Visions, we have summits every 2 years where we basically convene these multi-sector networks to span researchers to innovators to also investors. And more recently, in 2022, we were able to establish, with a gift from the Georgia Aquarium, a United Nations Ocean Decade Center that is solely focused on ocean climate solutions that we use as a think tank to really develop this big pictures idea. With that said then, one of our early successes was the unleashing of a series of ocean CDR roadmaps. And these roadmaps, again, essentially, we bring experts from around the world together. We have them in a room, and these are multi-sector groups. And we essentially ask them, what is the state of technology for some of these CDR approaches? And what does it take to bring the state of technology to where we need them to be in 5 or 10 years? And as part of this exercise, we can identify first-order priorities, both from the research and the innovation sector, that we can then use to mobilize new capital and new investment. And so, for example, just in 2021, 2022, we were able to unleash about $20 million of funding to new research groups and also startups to actually address some of these first-order priorities. And then, of course, we need to bring all this back to the innovation ecosystem. And I don't know how many of you have heard of the 1000 Ocean Startup. Raise your hand. Not everybody. So as part of this decade of the ocean, many accelerators and venture funds have come together around the world to make a coalition, including SeaAhead, to essentially make a pledge to develop 1,000 new startups for over the next 10 years. And so it's really important that this ecosystem of innovation that is currently being developed is also connected to the research world. And that's what this is one of the contributions that we're trying to make as part of this ecosystem. Now, having this research network also allows us to provide custom on-demand expertise to a lot of other startups that are currently being developed. And so we have this program called the Launchpad. And in the Launchpad, we have assisted many startups or cohorts that are on this page. And I'm really happy to see that Vycarb, who is a graduating cohort, is going to be part of our program too. So that's welcome to the program. Now, why is it that CDR is so sort of developing? Well, for sure, we know that we have a need for it to save the planet, if you like. But there's also a big business opportunity that was outlined in many articles, including this one from The Economist. And the carbon voluntary market right now is estimated about $2 billion and is expected to reach $50 to $60 billion by 2030, which is just around the corner. And so with that said, the reason for this, of course, is that the facts tell us that for us to stay within a certain warming of the planet, say 2 degrees, 1.5, well, 1.5 is too late. We're already almost there. So let's say 2, maybe, if you want to be happy. But we need about 10 to 15 gigatons of carbon removal per year by 2050 and about 20 gigatons carbon per year by 2100. That's a big number. Just to give you a context, land-based CDR technologies, estimating that everything goes well, they can probably promise by 2050 about 1 to 3 gigatons of carbon. And that's why the ocean is also representing a big opportunity. But there are challenges, a lot of challenges. One, for sure, there's no market ecosystem for this type of ocean CDR. But the other important challenge is that we don't have the ability to monitor, to report, and verify any of these ocean CDR technology. I mean, we're working towards that, and in fact, some of the startups today is actually exactly doing that. So one could say that in the ocean, we're effectively flying blind in terms of being able to MRV the ocean and also the ecosystem health, which is really important as we do CDR. Let me give you an example just of why this is the case as a roadblock. So this is an oceanographic picture from the science world. On one side, you have Argo. Argo are a set of floats that go around the ocean and measure physical properties of the ocean at any given time. And so this, you can see, is a pretty wide network. It covers most of the large-scale ocean. We also have Argos that are capable of measuring carbon and other biochemical quantities. And you can see on the other side that those floats are not nearly enough to cover any portion of the ocean. And so effectively, we don't know what's going on in the biogeochemistry of the ocean at the scales and resolution that are needed, for example, to do things like MRV. And so for this reason, I'd like to introduce a new initiative that maybe some of you have heard. It's called the Ocean Vital Sign Network. This is an initiative that has been launched just recently by the president of the BlueSwell Oceanographic Institution, Peter Domenico. And I have had the pleasure to be engaged in this as an advisor and also chair of this Ocean Vital Sign Network Advisory Board. So let me tell you a little bit about this grand vision. So here the vision is that we want to generate or produce a global, four-dimensional ocean sensing network to enable ocean climate solutions and protect the ocean ecosystems. This network is envisioned to be always on, always connected. It will deploy novel sensors, strategies, and technology for multi-scale sampling. And it will not just be a foundation for discovery, but it will also be a foundation, a data foundation for solutions. The goals of the network is, of course, to track carbon in the ocean, understand the impact of perturbations like MRV, MCDR, etc., and ultimately elucidate the links between the carbon and ecosystem functions so that we understand the effects, for example, things like MCDR. Now, luckily, we have a set of initial partners and also some seed funding that the Woodsell Oceanographic is going to use as a catalyst for action. We obviously have an ambitious plan. Over the next 2 years, this seed funding is being deployed to address some early challenges and hopefully some early success that gives us the momentum to go forward. And one of the things that we have our eyes on is developing a regional testbed that can be used essentially to understand how to really estimate all the carbon flows and the biogeochemistry of the ocean that are important, not only for MCDR, but also for oceanic health. And this is a big idea, of course. And these regional testbed, if successful, the idea is that we will have other global partners, which already exist around the world, that could scale these testbed and generate other testbed in other regions of the world and slowly really build this global OVSN, or Ocean Vital Sign Network. Of course, this is a very ambitious idea or vision, and it's going to require seriously that we have a global ecosystem with synergistic action for ocean climate solutions, because no one set of institutions can do this alone. And so I want to leave you with this nice image of underwater sculpture that to me incarnates a little bit this idea of being in this together and being connected. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions. If there's a question in the audience, I will repeat it so everyone can hear it. All right, well, if you are going to do that to me, then I have questions.
It's really intimidating to ask
know.
a question on networks.
All right, I'm going to hunt you down. No? Oh, I see one. Oh, of course. I can trust you to ask a question. Very good. Is there underwater R&D labs as part of your grand vision?
Yeah, so the idea is that around the world, there's many other groups that are having a similar vision. And so our vision is to try to bring all these groups together to share a common flag to actually develop this together so that there's some sort of not too many restarts. And conceptually, institutions like Woodsell, Scripps, and other larger oceanographic institutions have a history of working in the ocean, which is a complex environment, like probably Jacques Cousteau's grandson. And so the idea is that can we harness that collective power and really work under a common sort of framework and vision for a global interconnected system rather than piecewise in different parts.
All right, we got time for another one. Please. Yeah. Can you just tell us more about what's needed for that test bed? Can you how big is it? What's the scale? What's the funding required? Tell us more about the regional test bed and what you need to make it real.
Yeah. The funding requirements is of the order of several hundreds of millions of dollars, but that's one test bed, for example, for the North Atlantic, if we take that as a region. But you know, it's a process. It's like really this Ocean Vital Sign Network is going to be like any other startup. We start someone, we want some early success stories, demonstrate that we can do this at some scale, and then hopefully scale from there. But yeah, so it will take some time.
All right. Oh, all right. One more. We could do it. Who will own the data?
Yes, it's a strong commitment to transparency and data transparency. So this data is going to be accessible to the public.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. It was really inspiring.
Hi, my name's Lena Weiss, and I manage BlueSwell for the New England Aquarium. And I have had the great privilege of working on BlueSwell since the very beginnings of Cohort 1. And it's been really incredible to watch the community that we're building together grow and thrive. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight and helping us celebrate that community. For the very first time at Demo Day, we are welcoming back some alumni founders to share their experiences and successes following the program. So please join me in welcoming Annie and David Liu, co-founders of H2OK Innovations. In 2020, Annie and David observed how COVID-19 disturbed supply chains and revealed deficiencies in manufacturing. Inspired, they founded H2OK Innovations and built an AI IoT system to help manufacturers reduce water usage and waste while increasing uptime and production. With customers ranging from Unilever to Mitsubishi, H2OK is securing its position as a leader and a trusted partner as the manufacturing industry explores new approaches to efficiency, sustainability, and precision automation. All right, so Annie and David, we'd love to chat with you here a little bit about your founding story, your journey, and what lies ahead for H2OK. So can you give us a quick overview about what H2OK actually does?
Absolutely. So super excited to be here today in this demo day. And gosh, we were in Cohort 1, so it's you know, it's really great to be back as well. So hi everyone, I'm Annie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of H2OK Innovations. And then
David, CTO and co-founder of H2OK Innovations.
Yeah, great. And to answer your question as well, so at H2OK, we are an AI IoT platform. We're pioneering this term that we coined called precision automation, specifically in manufacturing and industrials. We're focused on fluid, liquid, and water systems in manufacturing, and we're really helping our customers and partners drive both more efficient and also more sustainable operations. So how do we unlock previously untapped data and now also drive data-driven decisions off this new information in real time to allow our customers and partners that really comprise our most foundational sectors of society, such as Unilever, Coca-Cola Company, for example, Mitsubishi Electric and beyond, to gain a competitive advantage in the way they operate, both again, being more sustainable and also more efficient. And so it's kind of a little bit of the work that we do. We're a full stack system comprised of our own proprietary sensors to our edge compute and edge ML, and then also our analytics platform as well. So kind of a little bit about what we do.
All right, so now that we kind of understand what H2OK is about, can you tell us a little bit about what drove you both to found the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So David and I have the same last name because we're actually siblings. So David's my brother, and we're also co-founders. And what we're really excited about, what we were really excited about is actually David and I come from a generational manufacturing background. So growing up with a lot of exposure on the shop floor, factory floor in a lot of large manufacturing plants, it's always been a deep passion of ours. And during COVID, this really brought to light a lot of challenges with supply chain and also a lot of the both gaps that exist right now that have been here for and plaguing this industry for decades, as well as a lot of the areas of opportunity for innovation. And so that really catalyzed us to create H2OK Innovations. We were always really passionate about this space. Fast forward to COVID, we saw this opportunity, and that was really how we started. David, feel free to.
Yeah, and we're just very passionate about this space because it's like foundational sectors use so much resources, water, huge users of water, huge emitters of greenhouse gases, users of energy, but then also huge emitters of wastewater and waste to our oceans. And we kind of wanted to make an impact, make a change, and we knew that we had the ability to do something and took a shot. And it's been an amazing journey so far.
Great, that's awesome. So you said your customers currently include some really big players like Coca-Cola and Unilever. What kinds of problems do you solve for them, and how do you spot that opportunity for your technology to step in?
Yeah. So like just for example, some of the challenges we solve. So one of the big emitters of like wastewater, like producers of wastewater is, you think of all these manufacturing plants when they change over. So like, for example, Coca-Cola makes one product, needs to make another product. They need to clean and wash everything. So they use a ton of water, dump a ton of chemicals through the production lines, and then this all gets sent to the waste. And then so one of our big use cases is optimizing changeover, helping them use less water, use fewer chemicals, produce less wastewater, as well as also reducing downtime. So that's good for business in the sense of like using fewer resources, emitting fewer emissions, but also good for business in the sense of helping increase their efficiency. But what's amazing about our product is that when our product gets in the hands of our customer, it's so versatile that they start expanding to other use cases. Use cases such as understanding wastewater strength, optimizing wastewater treatment, and then to understanding product quality, to helping with cooling, reducing cooling, like water and cooling towers and things like that. And so it's definitely super exciting to see what our customers can apply our technologies to.
Okay, one last question for you guys. As co-founders, you've navigated your company through both triumphs and some challenges. So what reflections can you share from this journey? And as you look ahead to what's next, what strategic priorities and developments are on the horizon for you all?
So many challenges. If you want, we had to go grab a beer sometime to talk about them.
We do have drink tickets.
Look, I'm sure also all of the startups here who are part of BlueSwell understand this, and part of SeaAhead understand this, that creating companies is never easy. And that's also what's so exciting about it. For us, we're working in such foundational sectors that have massive, massive opportunity, massive market size, but also, chronically one of the most, or David kind of mentioned earlier, one of the biggest producers of global greenhouse gases, one of the key contributors to our global environmental footprint, one of the biggest users of key natural resources, but time and time again, one of the most, I'd say, overlooked, chronically overlooked, and also under-digitized sectors that still remain in the world. And so this level of kind of the traditional classical way of how we've been doing these processes of running these factories for centuries, for decades, have remained the same even with the changing world. And that's also why we're so excited to be working with this space, because we're so excited about all the opportunity that exists for disruption. It's clear that like working in industries is never easy, and you'll face challenges, but I think at the end of the day, what's really important is grounding yourself in, at least in our perspective, the market and the customer. That at the end of the day, right, sustainability and business are never mutually exclusive, and sustainability always makes sense, and it should make sense. And how do we create technologies that solve real problems for real people, generate real value, and allow our key customers that, again, have major contributors to our global environmental footprint to be more sustainable at the same time. And so I think when you really get down to the customer, that's really what grounds us. And so these are things that we keep in mind and think about whether in good times and also in tough times as well. David.
And also we're just so super extremely passionate about this, like obsessed with these problems and obsessed with solving these problems for our customers, obsessed with creating a new way of how we think, how we operate, and how we produce for the world. And it's just also super exciting to see where customers take us. Actually, BlueSwell just introduced us, and like the Royal Caribbean just reached out to us, wants to use our technology in their cruise ships to, help with reducing their waste inside theirs. You think of cruise ships, they're basically giant cities on water. So it's always really exciting. And we're always, I think one of the big things for our culture is we're super fast experimenters, innovators, and have a bias for action. Amazing team of kind of great people around us, and also just amazing mentors and advisors as well, who's we can't be here without. So definitely a lot to thank for everyone, and also through the BlueSwell program. And we're super excited about the future and huge ambitions, and think there's a lot to do.
Thanks. We're so excited to see what's next for y'all. It's been a really exciting opportunity to track your journey. So thanks so much to Annie and David. We'll do questions with them, with the founders at the end. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again to Annie and David. It's so cool to have our first ever alumni speaker here at Demo Day. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming tonight. My name is Julia Pongan, and I am, Lena, get your phone, super important. And I am the BlueSwell program manager on the SeaAhead side of things. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I've had the honor of working closely with each cohort member over the past 5 months, and we've learned a lot together. How to conduct customer discovery, how to navigate a balance sheet and record cash flows, best practices for governance and board building, and how to build a powerful storytelling slide deck. I think that last one will come in handy tonight. Part of what makes being program manager so great is that I get to know and work with some incredible entrepreneurs. This cohort is no exception. Full of lively, passionate, brilliant founders, Cohort IV has made the past several months a really remarkable experience. I am grateful for their eager engagement, their unbelievable resilience and dedication, their cutting-edge creativity and vision, and their stalwart commitment to protecting and rejuvenating our ocean. The future holds incredible things for Cohort IV, and I know that they're ready for the journey ahead. The first founder we'll hear from tonight is Alan Lung, CEO of Marinas Bio. Unfortunately, Alan fell ill and couldn't fly in from Hong Kong. We miss him tonight, but we do have a video message from him to play for you all. And if you have any questions, his contact information will be in the video, and you can also find me or another BlueSwell program member, or staff rather, after the program. Thanks. Now let's hear from Alan.
I was born in Hong Kong and grew up in subsidized housing. Back then, my family ate a lot of seafood, which I missed terribly when I immigrated to the West. After college, I went to fish farming, where I was involved in the entire farm-to-fork process for over a decade. Later, I joined alternative proteins and fundraised for startups. There was a call to reduce animal proteins, and lots of money was directed into R&D. So like most investors, I was hopeful. But over time, I realized not everything makes sense. Most scientists I met had never cultured aquatic animal cells before they joined. Most leaders I met had zero experience selling seafood. I tried to make a change. I still have a mission, and the mission was not completed. In the end, I chose to give up everything and start from scratch. I recycle capital by helping investors to exit. I visited many labs around the world and recruited a scientific team with veterinarian and fish cell culture experience. So investors are not paying for our education. And most of all, I forged a shared consciousness with the people I work with.
Marina Bio utilizes circular agriculture to cultivate seafood delicacies such as caviar. Throughout the program, we successfully harvested surgeon cells and established 40 primary cell cultures. We received press coverage about our work from several news outlets. We also make new connections in the aquaculture and culinary fields. We still have a lot of work to do, and there are a lot of challenges ahead. But together, the future of sustainable seafood is in our hand. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan. And now we'll get into the live pitches.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm Rohit Karnik, co-founder of DetoXyFi. Imagine your home has been destroyed in a flood. You don't know where your family is, whether they are safe or not. You're hungry and thirsty, but the only water available is dirty. Are you going to drink it and risk falling sick? This is the decision that millions of people actually make every year in the face of natural and man-made disasters. On the planet, 2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water and consume water that may be contaminated with feces. Nearly 200 million people are affected by natural disasters, and 1 million people die every year by drinking contaminated water. And with climate change, these problems are only going to get worse. We need good solutions to be able to adapt. It can take days, weeks, or months to restore basic infrastructure after disaster strikes. So as a first response, disaster relief efforts will typically involve shipping packaged water. So it's often done maybe in cans like this or others. This is half full, but it's heavy. Now imagine distributing water to 1 million people distributed over a large area where the roads may be damaged or flooded. It's a logistical nightmare. So we need solutions that are far more agile, but as inexpensive as packaged water. This filter made by DetoXyFi can actually provide more drinking water than this can. In fact, this can provide more than 100 times its weight in water. So DetoXyFi filters are easy to distribute. They are inexpensive, about $1 at large scale. They are effective in removing microbes, turbidity, and so on. And they can be natural and fully biodegradable, not just the actual filtration element, but the entire filter can be made biodegradable. And that has implications on saving on the enormous amount of plastic pollution that packaged water often involves, as you see in this picture in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. So this is actually where it all began. And you see a picture of me by the Dead Sea attending a conference, which brought together engineers like me and biologists who were studying water flow in plants. There I learned that the xylem tissue in plants that conducts water from the root up to the leaves has these very intricate structures that actually trap bubbles. And I realized that the same structures could be repurposed to make natural low-cost water filters. So my lab at MIT developed the first water filters based on xylem and showed that it can actually trap microbes. We collaborated with MIT D-Lab to do field studies in India, understand user perspectives, and validate our technology in the field. And with this progress, my co-founders and I formed DetoXyFi with the united mission of providing clean drinking water to people as a human right. DetoXyFi technology is based on rigorous science. Multiple tests using third-party labs in multiple countries have shown that our filters can effectively remove microbes, providing comprehensive protection against waterborne diseases as per WHO standards. We have partnered with Winwood Sawmill in Massachusetts to produce these filters using sapwood, which is the wood around the periphery of the trunk that is typically discarded as a byproduct or waste product of the timber industry. We see wood as a platform that can provide a variety of clean water solutions to address markets including disaster relief, home use, where the replaceable can be completely plastics-free, outdoor use, and more. Not only in the US, but our co-founder Dhananjay is located in Delhi, in areas where the problem affects people the most. And he has been working with communities in urban slums to develop affordable filters for home use, which we have prototyped and are in the process of getting feedback. Today, we have basic functioning prototype and small-scale manufacturing. As the next stage, we will refine our product development, secure early sales, and then scale up to much larger production and start exploring additional product lines. We estimate requiring about $1 million in capital for the first and additional $3 million for the second, at the end of which we expect to be profitable. We are seeking like-minded people and organizations that can help us to advance and deploy our technology at scale to provide clean drinking water as a human right. I hope that you can join us in our mission. Thank you.
So, photographer Steve Deneef gave me permission to share this brief video with you. So this displays two right whales who appear to be hugging each other off the coast of Cape Cod. Now, that sound you heard was actually added by me, and this was recorded by the bioacoustic research group at Cornell Labs, and it captured something called an upcall. So an upcall is the sound a right whale makes to let others know she's nearby. So my name's Joe Wheeler. I'm the co-founder of Bluemvmt, and far from being what I hope is a memorable opening to this short presentation, this video speaks to something that my co-founder and I sincerely hope to have some impact on. Because the idea of saving the right whale is a topic that isn't lost on anyone in this room, and it isn't lost on Washington either. So the Biden administration has committed $82 million to help protect this incredible species. And, with only about 360 right whales left, the situation is as urgent as it is challenging, because where they look for food can bring them into perilous waters, vulnerable to ship strikes or even entanglements. And the business of tracking and monitoring
their movements is a top priority, but it can be very difficult. That's because we face three barriers. The first one is that devices that collect ocean data just don't communicate easily. The data that does exist is often locked in data silos, and there's issues around data ownership and use that inhibit data sharing. But imagine if that wasn't the case. Imagine if data could be available, easily accessible, and some in close to real time. Data like an acoustic hydrophone, picking up a right whale's up call, while at the same time detecting the conditions that predict zooplankton. Things like a high density of chlorophyll, specific ocean temperature, and other factors. This would give scientists the data they need to be able to better protect this and other species. This is the business of Bluemvmt. We unlock data-driven decision-making that simply isn't possible today. And the use cases include species management, as I go backwards, coastal resilience, pollution prevention, environmental monitoring, and disaster forecasting, to just name a few. So our platform as a service includes three elements. First, we extract data from any sensor and automatically drop it into any database or file format. Secondly, our orchestration layer allows you to extract, transform, and load any data effortlessly. And our Blue AI data warehouse provides a secure, scalable environment, eliminating the friction of sharing and analyzing data. But as we know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So in this brief video, we see a scientist who is working with our Blue AI data warehouse. She's brought data sets into what we call our data book, and she's asking Blue AI a few questions, like how does wind speed vary with temperature? Blue AI replies immediately, telling her the correlation, but cautioning that it's not very strong. She goes on and she asks, are there trends or patterns in the data over time? Blue AI replies with a series of charts of key trends plotted by month. This is data-driven decision-making that seriously isn't possible today. Until now. How exciting is this? So we are so honored to be working with 401 TechBridge and IBM in their Tech Hub bid to build Rhode Island's first digital experience center. This is a big deal because it will power that state's blue economy objectives. Secondly, we've been nominated for the second time for the Earthshot Prize. So this is a project called Digital Twinning Barbados Coastal Waters. I was kidding with my wife. I said, maybe the second time is the charm, and I'll get to stare into Prince Harry's steely blue eyes yet. Here's the good news. We can't do this on our own. We need your help to achieve our milestones, and they include closing our seed round to support our two customers in Rhode Island in Barbados. Now, it turns out the platform as a service market alone is about a $30 billion total addressable market. And if you think of the marine sensor market, that's predicted to achieve about $45 billion by 2029. So we think our prospects to achieve about $90 million in revenue in 5 years look very positive. So here's the thing. We invite you to join our Bluemvmt. Maybe just start by visiting our table. So we're seeking investors, customers, even skeptics. I was presenting to a senior scientist not long ago, and I took him through our presentation. And he said, Joe, listen, you're the first person to really come in here and articulate this problem so clearly. Having said that, and having lived with this for so long, I'm pretty skeptical you're ever going to solve it. So if you're skeptical, come to our table. Your skepticism is welcome. And lastly, anyone who can tell me how to get back on 93 North from here, please come by. Like, seriously, directionally challenged person in front of you right now. But listen, I'm going to bring us back to where we began. And I'm going to let these incredible species do the talking for me. But remember, their up call is to us all, but they expect us to do more than just listen. And I guess I should say thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We're looking forward to becoming one of your first customers soon. At atdepth, we're working to unlock the value of the ocean. 10 years ago, I started working as a naval architect at a shipbuilding company back in Spain, where I'm originally from. And as you may imagine, to design a ship, we need to make use of a number of fairly sophisticated software tools to be able to design these very complex ships. Right now, no one would dare design a ship without using these tools. And in fact, they have been essential to substantially improve the efficiency, performance, and more importantly, the safety of not only ships, but countless technologies over the past few decades. The image on the left is the place where the Titanic was designed. You know, that didn't go very well. But it reflects very well how it felt when I first started working in the ocean. 8 years ago, I came to Boston for the first time to start my PhD in ocean engineering at MIT. And I very soon realized that assessment tools in the ocean are outdated and very limited in what they can do. We have ocean monitoring. It is very complex and expensive. I've spent myself several months during my PhD collecting data from the deep Pacific Ocean. And what we get out of these monitoring operations are very important, but incomplete and sparse data sets, which is very far from the actionable information that we are always looking for. To try and complete the picture of what happens in the ocean, we have ocean simulations. But the simulation systems that we have right now were developed 30, even 50 years ago, and we still use them. They are very slow, coarse, cumbersome, and very expensive to run. We need a team of very well-trained ocean scientists and a very expensive supercomputer to be able to put in place a decent ocean model. Because of that, we're very far from making the most of ocean-based technologies and solutions. Together with my co-founders, Dr. Rafael Ullón and Professor Tom Peacock, we decided to change this. Thanks to a new generation of ocean simulation codes developed at MIT, we're bringing a breakthrough in ocean computing to the real world. On the left-hand side, you see a simulation of the Agulhas current off the coast of South Africa from a recent scientific article that appeared in a top-tier journal. The authors did a really good job on capturing the physics and what was going on in there. But on the right-hand side, you can see a snapshot from our global ocean model. In this simulation, we are able to achieve a resolution that is 5 times higher, using 40 times less processing units. But there is much more to it. Our ocean simulation system is over 100 times faster than legacy systems, which enables real-time assessments and unprecedented forecasting capabilities. We can now provide operational metrics in near real time to enable decision-making in the ocean. We're making advanced ocean simulations affordable. We can now run the largest ocean simulation ever using just 32 GPUs versus the 35,000 CPUs that were required to run this same simulation using a legacy ocean model. These are the three beachhead markets where we are currently present. The marine carbon dioxide removal, I don't need to say much about it because Manu has said it all. But we were recently awarded a $3 million grant from the Department of Energy to further develop the capabilities of our system to quantify how much CO2 these operations are actually removing from the atmosphere. And earlier today, we announced the start of our first pilot project together with Deep Sky in Canada. We will be quantifying and assessing their operations so that they can monetize them. Permitting is the main bottleneck to deploy ocean technologies. We are developing a new solution that is more accurate and more robust to enable safer and faster deployment of ocean technologies in the ocean. We're currently helping 2 of our clients going through their permitting process. And finally, coastal restoration and conservation projects. They are getting increasing attention lately, but it is still very hard to really assess and quantify their performance. We're about to start a 3-year-long seagrass restoration project in the Mediterranean to assess the performance of the project and quantify the associated carbon removal. This is a user interface from our platform. It's a sample one, where we will be providing in near real time the metrics that our clients care about. In this case, it's a carbon dioxide removal operations where it is providing different metrics related to the carbon dioxide removal performance of this operation. And I'll finish by saying that we have a really unique, talented, and very experienced team. And we are looking for more opportunities to deploy, test, and validate our system. So if any of you here know of any projects in the carbon dioxide removal, coastal restoration, water quality, or really any kind of operation in the ocean that will benefit from enhanced quantification capabilities, let us know. We're open to different types of partnerships and funding opportunities. And that's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Garrett Boudinot. I'm the founder of Vycarb, a carbon removal company that we've already heard about tonight, which is great. We'll fly through this. We've already talked about the carbon removal market, both as an opportunity to solve climate change, but again, as a huge economic opportunity. And we've already talked at length about how the ocean could help us get there. And Manu and Carlos both highlighted some of those different approaches at a high level. If you've looked more granularly at what folks are approaching, though, you'll realize that really a lot of these boil down to essentially folks wanting to dump millions of tons of chemicals into the ocean and then hope that works. Now, Carlos and Manu gave a good explanation of what's wrong with that. In my mind, I think first and foremost, let's call it what it is. That's pretty scary. That's not my vision of the ocean future. As Manu said, lots of potential risks and unintended consequences here. And as we've also heard, that's made worse by the fact that we don't really even know if any of this works. We've talked about the problem with measuring and verifying and optimizing all of this. Really, the crux of this problem is the fact that we've heard about lots of different methods to quantify this. At the heart of it, there's just no real-time measurement technology for ocean carbon, which is why it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do those test beds, right? And part of the reason for that is CO2 in air is pretty easy to measure, but once CO2 goes into water, fundamentally changes form, it moves around all the time. So measuring these different carbon molecules in ocean water traditionally requires taking a sample from a field, bringing it into a laboratory, running very labor, time, and cost-intensive analyses. Now, you might have noticed a trend in the founders tonight, so you'll be unsurprised to hear my background is also in science. My background is as a climate scientist. Spent most of my career running a lab where we were doing these labor, time, and cost intensive chemical analyses, initially to study the nature of climate change, but then to study different carbon removal technologies. And I saw firsthand that all of that labor, time, and cost simply can't scale to what we hope is a billion-ton global scale industry. So I started thinking about how we might rectify the need for scaling up ocean climate solutions with where we are in the technology space right now. And I found, I think, three main weaknesses that we needed to address. First and foremost, I think we really need a better pathway to scale. Dumping millions of tons of chemicals into a single place or a few places in the ocean is going to have an outsized ecological impact to try and get the climate impact that we need. And we started thinking, well, we already manage coastlines. That's where we already interface with the ocean the most. That's where we already have a lot of infrastructure. What if we had something that could be distributed around the world's coastlines effectively? Second, started thinking about how we're going to actually deploy these kinds of fundamentally chemical reactions in the ocean, and started thinking that we needed something a bit more controlled than dumping stuff in the ocean. And in order to control that for the ocean's changing carbon conditions, we need that better technology to actually measure those different carbon molecules in real time directly. So thinking about that and developing that initially at an academic scale and then commercially is what led to Vycarb, where we've developed these distributed systems that can deploy and measure and scale ocean carbon removal. Started Vycarb about 18 months ago, and what we've developed are systems that kind of look like this. These are modular, relatively inexpensive systems that can drop into any coastline. They measure the existing carbon conditions of the water, which are variable through time and space, at an hour, at a day, at a season, and thanks to climate change, at a long time scale. And then based on what those real-time conditions are, can actually control the carbon removal reaction to get exactly how much carbon removal we need at any given location, and ensure and validate that the results are not just effective, but safe. And able to make this all work, we developed, again, this real-time measurement technology that can actually quantify all of those different carbon molecules in the water in real time. And so we can see not just how much CO2 we're removing, but how much stable carbon we're producing that locks that greenhouse gas away in the ocean for hundreds of thousands of years, and again, show that it's done safely. This is cool to talk about things that we've developed, but this isn't just a lab project. We're actively deploying these systems. We've deployed this in several locations in New York, which is where we're based, including in the New York City harbor, of all places. And while we've done this at a small scale, the fundamental demonstrations and data that we've generated have shown that this can be a powerful and safe technology that can scale up globally to actually have a billion-ton scale impact that we want by integrating into existing infrastructure, again, getting to that distribution plan. Now, in order to have the impact that we want, we need to show that we can make money off of this, again, access the economic opportunities here. So the obvious way that we do that, at least in one hand, is selling carbon offsets. And we're already doing this, actively having sold carbon offsets to some of the major players here. But we're very aware of the fact that as a small scale startup, we're not going to have a billion-ton scale impact anytime soon ourselves. And so in order to sell the volume and the speed of carbon offsets that we need, fundamental to our business model is actually providing that hardware, that tech, as a service to the folks that we believe are better equipped to scale up these solutions, folks who already manage and operate coastal infrastructure. That includes heavy industry who needs to decarbonize. That includes municipalities and coastal communities and nonprofits and conservation organizations. It includes anyone really
who has access to coastal water. They can deploy our systems and then with us can help generate those carbon offsets. One of the exciting things about us is, as I mentioned, we're already doing it. We're scaling up actively to deliver on some of those carbon offset sales. Currently building our first or our largest system, which is first of its kind to deliver 100 tons per year that we're going to be deploying. This is actually, luckily enough for us, right behind our office there in Brooklyn. Our team is based in Brooklyn, largely a technical team of ocean and climate scientists and ocean and maritime engineers, although we do have a terrific business team. Our head of BizOps, Greg, is here with me tonight. But also part of our core team are the widespread private sector, investor, public sector, philanthropic, and municipal partners that we've brought on that are helping us scale up. And you will recognize a number of logos on this slide. But the reason I'm here tonight is to add more names and logos to this slide. Specifically, as I mentioned, our ability to scale, our ability to test this process, and our ability to have the impact that we want is dependent on, is contingent on us finding folks who can help us deploy. Folks who have access to coastal resources, folks who want to help accelerate the ocean climate opportunity that we're here to talk about tonight. So I'll put it this way, I suspect many of you in this room probably know someone who operates or works along the coastal sector. If you do and you think you or those folks that you know would be willing to deploy with us, come find us. We'll be at a table in the back. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Oop. All good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Garrett. At this point, I'm going to ask that Cohort 4 members come back down to the stage along with H2OK. We're going to do some Q&A. While they're heading down, I'm just going to say, I know everybody probably has a million questions, but just so that we can get to the reception on time, we're only going to take 3 right here. If you have more questions, like Garrett said, everybody's going to have their own table in the reception, so you can go up and ask them there. And let me get the other mic. We'll probably need that. All right. We're going to do a little pass around as the questions go. But yeah, let's take the first question. Okay, lifespan of the filter and desalination capacity.
Yeah, thank you. So, so the current lifespan of the filters, like if we don't modify it, is on the order of a week. And so the idea in this format is that the filters are going to be very low cost and they will last. They actually stop flowing water and gradually get blocked. So you can't just flow water and drink dirty water. But then there are ways to engineer it to make it last longer, which is also on our radar.
All right, next question, please.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good question. We aim to become a service provider. So essentially, like we will be providing quantification services to different operations in the ocean. So we take care of the design of them, monitoring assets. We take care of the monitoring operations in most cases. And then we manage the data, we put in place the simulations, and you get access to the results.
Awesome. Third and final question. Please.
Good afternoon. This one might be more for the data folks. I don't know if it will be relevant to DetoXyFi, but I'm wondering if you could speak to the data needs that you have. Like you have cloud providers or there's data centers that are helping you do what you do.
Our team it's a cloud-based infrastructure. We're speaking with NVIDIA about their new cloud, which is exciting because the performance, based on what they say, is going to be pretty tremendous, honestly. So it's a cloud-based infrastructure. Quite honestly, what we've learned is that in this sector, this kind of modern cloud-based architecture is an innovation, quite honestly. And so, you can put a lot of files up in the cloud. It might be just a different way of having more difficult access than on a server. So we're trying to build an ability to be able to take, not move the data, but to move compute resources to that data, because moving data out of a cloud environment is very expensive. So that's what we're trying to do.
Great. And for us at H2OK Innovations, so we run them both. If you think of the tech stack, we're both on the cloud, and also we operate a lot of our optimization on the edge, actually. So on the shop floor and the factory floor. It's really interesting you mentioned data centers, because we actually, one of our customers is one of the top 3 global cloud companies in the world. And we actually work with them in optimizing data centers in 125 hyperscale data centers. So some fun stuff that's kind of, on the infrastructure side of digital infrastructure and empowering all of AI. So some work that we do as well.
Hey, can I ask these two a question? Like, are your parents just so proud of the both of you? I mean, really, Garrett. Anyway, hey, so Julia, a little surprise for you. Before we wrap this up, we want to recognize Julia. Now, here's the deal. Do you all remember your first job out of college? Think about that for a second. Here was mine. I got a job at a jewelry store selling watches. I think I told them my grandfather was a clock. So this one here, this is her first job out of college. She's been doing this since September when we first met. And all of the details you saw today come together because of this one right here. So for Julia, I just want to say on behalf of Cohort 4, right? You're not going to let me in the next one, are you? On behalf of Cohort 4, we want to thank you and salute you. Thank you for your passion, your presence under pressure, your commitment. And I think my friend Ryan here has a little something I'm going to present to you. Ryan, thank you. Anyway, thank you. So that's dinner on Cohort 4 in the North End for you, okay?
Oh, Joe, thank you so much. Really appreciate the kind words. It's been an honor. I will say, can't have done it without the people who have been doing it since the beginning. So I do want to call out Lena and the rest of our friends at the New England Aquarium who have just been instrumental. With that, I'm going to dismiss Cohort 4 and H2OK, but can we get another round of applause for them? They're so great. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Many rounds of applause tonight. And we're going to hear some closing remarks from John Mandelman.
Thanks, Julia. And I do want to acknowledge not only Julia for tonight, but also Lena Weiss for putting on a fantastic show. You already met Lena. And I also know that Nadir from SeaAhead, where are you? There. As well as Natalie, who's been an intern at SeaAhead, have also played pivotal roles in this amazing program tonight. So thank you. One more round of applause for all of them. So my name is John Mandelman. I am the Vice President of the Anderson Cabot Center for Ocean Life here at the aquarium, and also Chief Scientist here at the aquarium. It's been fantastic tonight to learn a little bit more about the progress that our amazing Cohort 4 has made in BlueSwell. I'm about to release you all to the main building to enjoy the reception and some details about that. Couple of parting notes. One, you've heard and learned all about our progress in the amazing BlueSwell program led by our friends at SeaAhead and us at the New England Aquarium. We also have a fairly new program, same partners, SeaAhead and the New England Aquarium, called Upswell. And Upswell is creating business white papers for ocean investors. It's meant to help mentor investors to make ocean-friendly decisions in their investments. Copies of our first white paper from that program, which focuses on responsible aquaculture, are available at the front desk where you registered. So please take them on your way out, or take one on your way out. Also, leave your name or your business card
if you'd like to receive future papers. We have a forthcoming paper on AI and the blue economy. So please sign up for that. You've heard about this. If you want to talk to the founders more, you have more questions, they're all going to have tables. You've heard that too in our main building on the first floor. So please network with them. At-Depth MRV, who you've heard from tonight, will be deploying their sensor in the giant ocean tank for the first 40 minutes of the reception. So please make sure you take a look at that, see how the animals respond. I heard in the test run that Myrtle was curious. We'll see if she's the same tonight. Food and drinks will be provided on both the first and second floors, so feel free to wander around. You have your drink tickets. And finally, we can validate parking for $10 off at the information desk of the main building. So thank you again for coming tonight. Thank you for celebrating our amazing Cohort 4. And yeah, we appreciate your partnership and your support, and hopefully have a great reception. Thanks.